Okay, so here are the rails, and here is our show.
Completely off. Completely gone today. What in the world? Derailed.
Yay, you're here. Welcome to the CK and GK podcast. Let's get going.
Hey friends, this week's episode is about mysterious Hollywood deaths. We recorded this episode before the untimely passing of Matthew Perry. He brought so much joy and laughter to so many of us, but really it's his work with addiction and addiction recovery that's the most inspiring. To that end, CK and GK will be making a donation to Shatterproof, which is an organization dedicated to reversing the addiction crisis in the United States. We'll include the link to donate in the show notes for this week. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, help is available. Speak with someone today at the SAMHSA National Helpline for confidential, free help from public health agencies to find substance use treatment and information near you. That number is 1-800-662-4357. Be well. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Caitlin, what's a dog's favorite day of the week?
I have no idea.
It's Tuesday!
Oh, yes. I love it. Have you seen that? It's like a meme that goes around about how it's like British people be like, it's Tuesday, isn't it? And it's so funny to me because you know exactly what they're saying.
Yup.
I love me a good accent, doesn't matter where it comes from. But we're so glad you're here today, guys. We're channeling, it's Halloween. It's Halloween. And we're channeling our inner scary stories to tell in the dark / goosebumps vibes for those of you who understand and know what we're talking about. Today's episode is the elder millennial woman's version of that book. We're talking about spooky celebrity deaths. We promise it's not too scary. You can listen in front of your kids, we swear.
Yeah, no, it's like Bravo meets MFM meets CK and GK.
Love.
All right. So, before we go in.
Yes.
With me today is Caitlin. Mm-hmm. If she was a Halloween character, she would be Frankenfine.
Yay! Oh. Well, Jenny, you're my adorable miniature horse, which if you know
I'm
Parks and Rec,
5,000
you know
candles
that is
in the wind.
Right, that is the highest compliment in Pawnee to call someone Lil Sebastian. So there you go. You ready to do this?
Yes.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so
right, let's do it.
It's Halloween. I know that Sam's favorite part is the decorations, but
Yes.
what is your favorite part of Halloween?
I mean, I think just overall fall vibes. People get really into it.
Yeah.
Here in Texas too. Like there's like hardcore decorations out, which is like not really, you know, there were always like the super spooky houses that like really went all out, but like even the houses that don't go all out still have something fun. And I like, that's probably my favorite. I just love decorations that are outside.
Yeah.
I think it's really fun.
So, you know, my favorite is obviously the costumes. I love a good costume.
Sure. Yeah. But you don't need Halloween for that.
Right. That's true.
No. Right.
I also love handing out candy and drinks to adults and getting to like chat with the neighbors.
Oh, yeah. That's fun. I like it too.
Yeah. John takes the kids trick-or-treating, but I would say that his second favorite thing to trick-or-treating is watching scary movies.
Oh, not my thing.
Oh, we are working our way through all the Saws.
Oh.
How did I miss these movies? They are so thrilling and creepy and gory. Everything you want out of a good scary movie.
Everything you want out of a good scary movie.
Yes.
I am not a scary movie person. I never have been. But when I saw, oh gosh, The Exorcist really, I had to leave when I was in high school and The Exorcist came out again, like that remake.
Yeah,
I had to leave. I couldn't do it. And then the only one I ever like kind of, I guess, liked-ish, I think I told you this, was Scream.
Oh, right.
And it's only because of the end. And this is not a spoiler. This movie's 30 years old. When he's like, oh man, my mom's going to be so mad at me because he's like slaughtered all these people. Like, that kills me every time. Isn't it Matt Lillard who does that?
I have no idea.
The guy who plays Scooby-Doo? Or the guy who plays Shaggy?
That's
I think
funny.
It's him.
That's hilarious.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the spirit, spirit.
Nice.
Of spooky season, I am going to share some creepy celebrity death stories. Now, these are not like graphic or scary, but I still want to offer a warning. This episode does talk about death and dying. And so if that's not your jam or you're listening with small ears and you're concerned about it, just go ahead and skip to circle time. There's no creepiness there this week.
No.
Okay, so I want to start with Marilyn Monroe. We already know that her life is like covered in scandal.
Yes.
But I read about her last night.
Oh,
okay.
This is a good story.
So she makes a phone call to Peter Lawford, who is a friend of hers and is an in-law to Robert and John F. Kennedy.
Right.
Because he married their sister, Pat.
Right.
And he said that when she was hanging up and ending the call, she said, say goodbye to Pat, say goodbye to Jack, John F. Kennedy, and say goodbye to yourself because you're a nice guy.
What?
Yes.
Oh.
Now, of course, there's been like rumors that Marilyn and Jack Kennedy or Marilyn and Robert Kennedy had relationships. But her housekeeper was the one who found her dead. And she found her at 3:30 in the morning. And the housekeeper said, hey, Robert came here last night and they were fighting. Oh. Now, of course, the Kennedys have like denied that all the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But the timeline...
we don't mean to disparage any Kennedys.
Right. No, please.
No.
The timeline is completely off. Her press manager got a call that she was dead at 10:30.
What?
Peter Lawford, the one who she said goodbye to on the phone, found out at 1:30. The maid who found her, the housekeeper, called Marilyn's doctor before she called the police. And then it took the police an hour to get there.
No.
And nobody knows what really happened.
Well, somebody knows.
Somebody knows.
They're just not saying.
Yeah.
Boo. Well, that is like very mysterious.
Yes.
And as my son would say when he was little, smooky.
Oh, smooky. I love it. Smooky.
Yeah, exactly.
This came from a BuzzFeed article that's like all about celebrity murders and death. And there's some really great ones that you guys can read that I'm not going to say on the air because they're like a little graphic or scary, but there's some interesting ones in there.
Sure.
From that same article is the story of Brittany Murphy. How much do you know about her death?
Wasn't there like a biography that came out fairly recently?
Yes.
Yeah,
I was like, what happened to Brittany or something?
Yeah, I watched that, but I need a refresher.
Okay, so Brittany Murphy and her husband were living in Britney Spears' old house.
Yes, I remember
that
this.
Britney Spears sold because it was, quote, unlucky and had bad spirits. Now, that's according to Britney's hairstylist.
Okay.
Just want to give credit where credit is due.
Okay.
Okay, so the house is unlucky and has bad spirits. Brittany Murphy died from pneumonia. There were like some complications with her medication, but like she wasn't taking drugs or anything. These were all prescribed medications and over-the-counter stuff. But she died from pneumonia.
Oh.
And then 6 months later, her husband also died of pneumonia.
Well, I forgot that detail of this story.
This is in the 2000s, y'all. This is not a time where people are really dying of pneumonia if they're not immunocompromised.
Oh, man. That's terrible. Or like, yeah, oh, man, I forgot about that part.
Yeah. So is this a coincidence? I don't know. Was it mold in the house? Like there's some rumors about that. Or was it just like these very unlucky bad spirit ghosts in Britney Spears' house?
I mean, what does Britney Spears say about it? Does she have any comment? Should we reach out to her for comment?
I was going to say you probably need to read her book.
Okay. Oh, girl, I am here for that book. I'm ready. I haven't read it yet. I don't know if I can even get to it yet, but I'm ready. Okay.
That is funny. That is
funny. A different time, a different conversation.
Okay.
What else you got?
You buy it and read it and then give it to me and I'll read it.
And I'll give you
But I am not going to spend money on that book.
Oh, okay. No problem.
All right. The next one is Harry Houdini. Now, his death was not so mysterious as it was kind of spooky because he died on Halloween.
Oh.
Now, Harry Houdini was like a major escape artist.
Right.
And there is this rumor or like old wives' tale or, tall tale, I don't even know what you would call it, that he died because one of his escape tricks didn't work.
Like didn't work. Yeah.
That is not how he died at all.
No.
He died because on like October 26th or 27th, he made a bet with some guys on the street. Hey, you can punch me anywhere above the waist and I won't react. So this dude punches him right in the gut and ruptures his appendix. And now for 4 days, Harry Houdini is getting poisoned from his... Yes.
Oh, my
And so he ended up dying on Halloween from an infection from a burst appendix.
Yeah, there was like, didn't he I feel like he did something. Maybe he like put, I don't know, it was like he put something in his shirt or something like that, but he would like at least like flex to prepare himself for it. And then the guy just like sucker punched him.
Without him knowing.
How that went down? Yeah. And then he just
popped his appendix.
Down and yeah. Oh, sounds horrible. Wow. Yuck.
Okay. So the next one is kind of a group of celebrity deaths. So not specifically one person, but a whole team of people. A club of people, if you will.
Is this the 27 Club?
It's the 27 Club.
Oh, yay.
Okay, so if you don't know about the 27 Club, this is a group of celebrities. They're mostly musicians, but some people include artists and actors who all died when they were 27 years old.
Isn't Brittany Murphy part of that group?
Oh my gosh, is she?
I don't know.
That's interesting. I don't know.
Okay. You tell us the story.
Okay.
I'm going to look it up.
The guy who founded the club, which no one wants to found a club of mysterious celebrity deaths, but Robert Johnson was a blues musician and he was the first one to die at 27 unexpectedly. But other members are Brian Jones, one of the original members from the Rolling Stones and actually the one who named the band, Jim Morrison, Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Pigpen from the Grateful Dead. There's like 70 people in the 27 Club, depending on who you count and who you don't. If you count actors, Jonathan Brandis is one of them.
Nuh-uh.
And if you happen to grow up in the 80s or 90s, you have seen all the Never Ending Story movies.
Huh?
He was the kid in number 2.
The kid?
Bastian.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
That's wild.
Okay, so there's like all kinds of theories and conspiracies about the 27 Club.
Yeah,
okay?
Tell me.
But more than anything, when an artist dies at 27, they kind of get this elevated rock star status that they are partying, quote, in rock and roll heaven together.
I mean, 27's a good age for that.
Yes.
Right? Like you're not, the hangovers don't last 4 days.
Well, I feel like if you're in rock
but you
and roll
can handle
heaven,
yourself. Like... Right. That's true. You're right. If you're in rock and roll heaven. By the way, Brittany is not part of that. She was 32. And I was thinking Buddy Holly, but also he was 22. So I was off.
Oh, wow. Young.
On both of them. Yeah. Really young. I had no idea. I thought he was older than me. Right. And I thought she was younger. Clearly, because I messed that up. Yeah. So there we go.
So if you want to know who else is in the 27 Club, there's lists all over the internet where people kind of gather names depending on what category they're doing. So remember I said there's like 70 people if you include actors and artists. And again, these are just famous ones.
Right.
There's tons of people.
Tons of people.
But it's all like tragic and mysterious. Coincidental? I don't know.
27? Or baby.
Okay. The next one is a person who is close to my heart.
Okay.
Princess Di.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we all know that she died in a car accident in a tunnel in France.
Yes.
The story on the news when it first happened was that they were being chased by paparazzi and the driver crashed. Then there were talks about alcohol. Then there were talks about drugs. Then
smear campaign.
There's been all kinds of things. But
smear campaign.
Oh, smear campaign. Absolutely. But the spooky part about her death is just a few months beforehand, she said, even in writing and letters to her friends, I think someone is going to try and kill me and stage it as a car crash.
No.
Yes. Now, she wasn't wearing a seatbelt in the limo. I'm like, why? If you think someone's going to kill you in a car crash, you wear a seatbelt all the time.
Especially when the car starts like flying down the road. You were like, buckle up. But I mean,
she predicted it.
Oh, that's so terrible.
Yes.
Oh.
And
yikes.
In the letter she wrote, it was, I think someone is going to kill me and stage it as a car crash, so Charles will be free to remarry.
Well, I mean, if you put all that, you put it together, it's like he wants to remarry. She was quote unquote dishonorable or whatever by talking about things she wasn't supposed to talk about. She did her own thing from day one as much as she possibly could. And like he, being the golden boy, literally now king, like gets to get away with things like that. Yeah. But why? I don't know. The killing her part. I mean, he was divorced. Like, why not? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Why go that far? But it's probably because she talked.
Yeah, and it might not even be Charles, right? Like, it could have been anyone else who wanted him to have that freedom and release or whatever. Could have been Camilla. Just saying. Now,
we are not accusing anyone of anything
not.
at all.
No, let me go on the record by saying I'm not accusing anyone of anything today.
No.
So I love Princess Diana. You know this. My daughter Abigail is named Abigail Diana after Abigail Adams and Princess Di. Abigail
Beautiful
Adams,
women,
who
both of
said,
them.
yes, Abigail Adams, who said to her husband, that's they're writing the Constitution, remember the ladies. Men will be tyrants. Mm-hmm. And she always pushed back. And then, of course, like you said, Princess Diana did her own thing from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever see the HBO miniseries John Adams?
Oh, that's what inspired me to name Abby Abigail.
Oh, Laura!
I
Laura
watched
Linney
that
so
years before Abby was born, but I
yeah.
picked out that name. I said, "Oh no! If I have a daughter, it's
perfect.
Abigail." Laura Linney killed that character.
Perfect. She was not literally. She was so good in that character. I loved it.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
She was really, really good, and just they
really
they did such a great job in the writing. Of referring to their letters and having actual quotes between the two of them that were from the letters. It was just
beautiful.
Yeah, really awesome.
I love her.
Okay.
Anyway.
And when John was writing to Abigail, at one point he referred to her as his Diana, goddess of the moon.
Oh. I love it.
Yeah. All right.
Perfect.
Enough about me. Okay, so I've strayed a little bit. I wanted to do like celebrity creepy deaths, but this one is not about a death. This is like an after death story.
Okay.
Okay. Have you heard of this guy, Albert Einstein?
Maybe once or twice.
Yes. Okay. So he was like famous for being smart. Do you know that?
Is he talked about in the that one movie, Oppenheimer movie?
Yes.
Did they talk about him?
I think he's like a passing character that like might actually be the bookend of the story, possibly.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, so this dude Albert Einstein, he dies, right? And
as you do.
yeah,
Right.
it happens. The guy who did his autopsy frickin' stole his brain.
I'm sorry, I'm still laughing at you saying it happened.
He stole Einstein's brain.
Oy.
Because he wanted to know, like, what made him so smart. So he had been studying it at home, and the brain has been missing for like 20 years until something spurs him to show the brain to a journalist that he's been keeping in 2 mason jars in his house.
Oh my gosh, that's so nasty.
Some
and
people use mason jars to like make salad dressing or store jelly,
pickles,
decorate for your wedding in the early 2000s.
Oh, true.
But
everyone's Pinterest page was covered in
burlap,
like mason jars full of baby's breath. And like
tied around
burlap,
it.
right? And like burlap on the thing that had like script printed on it.
I may or may not have given that to someone as a wedding present one year. A piece of burlap with their monogram painted on it.
Oy, oy, oy.
So, yeah. So this guy's like holding onto his brain and just like keeps it in a jar. Actually, 2 jars.
Oh. Did something ever like that guy should have been arrested? Like I would hope. I don't know.
I mean, I guess like, but is there a statute of limitations on brain stealing?
Body snatching's illegal. Like you can't. That's a thing because it was like an epidemic of body snatching in the 1880s and like in the early 1900s. It was like a whole thing. People would like protest in the streets about like these
snatched.
medical facilities stealing bodies from the graves of less advantaged people. So like people of color or people who were in poverty, they would go to the graves and steal a body. That's why like there's bells and stuff for body snatching, and also because people sometimes got buried alive. That's a different story. But no, that's real. That's real. It really did happen. But also like that's why you can't steal brains. Like it would have been illegal by the time like Einstein died.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Okay, so speaking of burial, the other night we're listening to Kiss in the car because they're like going on tour again. And John looked up tickets and they were like $150 a seat. We said, no, we're not spending that to go see Kiss. But he said this was like the biggest rock spectacle ever. And they were famous for having so much merch. Did you know that there were Kiss themed coffins?
Hard pass. Yeah. Like, I don't even know what to say except hard. Like,
I don't know. Like,
hard pass.
I do not want a themed coffin.
I don't want a coffin.
I don't either.
I don't want a coffin. I want
to be creative.
I want give away everything you can that's usable.
Absolutely.
I don't care. And then put me in an urn or dump me out somewhere else. I don't need anything else. Just anyway, no Kiss themed coffins for me.
No. Isn't that funny?
And horrible. It's the kitschest thing I can think of. Ugh.
Gross.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm. All right, here comes my last one.
Sorry, I just had a picture that like the knob of the coffin is like a Gene Simmons tongue.
or like the handles that the pallbearers use.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Ugh.
All right.
Sorry.
Okay.
Had to say it.
So our last mysterious celebrity death is a throwback.
Ooh.
To 30 BC.
Yes, I would say that's a throwback for sure. Okay. Where are you going with this?
Cleopatra.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so she ruled for like almost 3 decades in Egypt. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. She died on August the 12th, 30 BC. Okay.
Oh.
Catch you up. She was the mistress of both Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. Like they had like a whole thing going. Okay. Yes. So Antony and Cleopatra's forces were defeated by Octavian. Mm-hmm. And there were rumors that Cleopatra was so in despair over this loss that she just ended it all.
Oh.
So, in true Romeo and Juliet fashion, Mark Antony took his own life because he heard these rumors about Cleopatra.
Oh.
Well, then Juliet woke up from her spell and realized that Romeo was dead there on the ground. So those rumors were not true.
Oh, no.
So after she buried Antony and she met up with Octavian, Cleopatra locked herself in her room and she died.
Oh,
and nobody knows what happened. Some people at that time thinks that she let herself get bitten by an Egyptian cobra.
Ooh, that sounds
right,
swift, but also like
ew,
horrible.
But a lot of scholars now doing research think that Octavian convinced her to self-harm in a different way.
That's horrible.
They're not sure that it was a snake bite.
Whoa, that's kind of wild. Yeah. I did not know that.
So nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Oh, man.
But she locked herself in a room and died.
Piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I knew that it's all mysterious, but I didn't know the snake bite part. Ooh, I got the willies after this. This is like a good place to take a break. Ugh. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. So if you are mourning Cleopatra, here's some funny stuff to help.
This is how, by the way, you end up going down some kind of YouTube rabbit hole where like you start learning about Cleopatra, but then 3 hours later you're learning about poisonous snakes. Like this is how that happens.
Yes.
Right? Like, yeah. Okay.
I just finished a book that was about an archaeologist.
Poisonous snakes?
No.
Oh.
An archaeologist trying to find Cleopatra's necklace.
That'd be interesting.
Now, that's like the side story. It was actually a romance novel.
I was going to say, is it Indiana Jones?
No.
Are you reading
It's
The
Perfect
Kingdom of the
Sin.
Crystal Skull or something? Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. All right. So, what are we obsessed with?
Is that your obsession right now, that book?
No, my obsession is meal prep bowls.
Okay.
Okay. So
Explain.
we have all seen meal prep. And if you put in the work, you recognize that it actually is worth it.
It's totally worth it.
But my thing is, I don't want to eat exactly the same thing every day of the week.
All week. Yeah.
So I got this idea from a friend of mine at work. What she does is make a bunch of ingredients like the capsule wardrobe for your fridge.
Oh, yeah.
And then every morning, everyone in her house gets to assemble their own bowl of what they want to eat that day.
Smart. Super smart.
It's super smart. And it's like the kids still have autonomy, but you're not packing a lunch. Like they can go through.
Right. They do it. Yeah.
You were going to have to cook all this stuff on Sunday if you were going to meal prep anyway. But at least now you're putting it in individual containers instead of making full meals.
Yeah, I like that.
I love it.
That's a good idea.
And Abby loves it. And Kit loves it. And John doesn't like having to assemble his bowl. So I said, what if I just make it for you and pack it in the fridge? That's fine.
If I don't have food made for myself, like during the day while I work from home, I'm probably going to eat like a handful of grapes and a protein bar. Like that's just how I, because I'm lazy
I have
and
a box of rice crackers next to me.
Perfect.
While I'm recording.
Yep.
That's my lunch.
Yep. Okay, well, this is not so much an obsession as it is like what's in my ADHD brain right now, right? Like sometimes I'll be sitting there and there's an episode of Friends where everyone's thinking about stuff and the camera like pans to each one of the friends and it's kind of like what each one of them is thinking.
Oh, right,
and Monica,
right.
like
little
Ross is
voice.
telling a story about dinosaurs. Yeah, and Monica's like, oh, good, another dinosaur story. When are those going to go extinct? And then, yeah. And Joey's singing and he's like dun 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 dun, and then Phoebe's like, who's singing? Like everyone, they're all funny. Yeah. So sometimes the Joey song comes in my head, but right now, and this is because I was at HEB and I was walking down the Halloween aisle and they have all of those like reusable bags that have sugar skulls on them.
Yes.
And so my brain went to Coco.
Sure.
The movie that it's a beautiful little movie. If you haven't watched it, I would highly recommend. I love that movie. But there's a part where one of the main characters who's chasing after this little boy the whole time calls a computer a devil box. And the way that she says it, she like takes off her shoe and she starts like beating on the computer and she calls it a devil box. And for whatever reason, that particular line just keeps playing over and over in my head right now, and I can't get it out.
In the grocery store, in the aisle, no one around, laughing out loud.
Laughing out loud
at something you were remembering is funny.
From a Disney Pixar movie. Devil box. Oh, it's so funny. I like the way she does it. That whole scene is just so perfect because the whole family is all terrified of this crazy lady. And you can see why, because she breaks the computer. It's so good. And it just makes me laugh. And that's what's in my head right now. Really and that's funny. Also my gem of the week because
that's great. That's great. That's funny.
I'm just standing there in the aisle. Like, I'm there to get, medicine for my husband who's sick. And I'm there to, like, pick up prescriptions. And I'm there to, like, grab a Topo Chico on the way out the door. And I see that. And I'm just like, devil box. And I just in my head.
Don't
over and over again.
I just thought of something funny.
I just thought of something funny to myself. Right. Oh, that's funny. It's a beautiful movie, but still, I'm a child. That's okay. Me.
So speaking of children, this gem of the week comes from my daughter, who recently turned 12. And if you remember yourself at 12, you probably had a phone in the kitchen with a really long cord so that you could like drag it around the corner and sit in your own room and pretend to talk on the phone while no one's listening. Mm-hmm. Or not pretend to talk, but pretend that no one's listening because everyone in your family is listening. But
hope and pray, and then hope that nobody picks it up and goes, "Get off the phone."
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so because there are no landlines anymore, the version of that is taking my phone and like going to another space to go talk. Right?
Yeah, of course.
She actually can get privacy because she's not wired to something.
Right.
Except last week we were in the car. So she is talking to her friend on the phone in the car on FaceTime.
Okay.
And they're having a hard time getting a connection. And then it's getting loud because they're talking on FaceTime, so it's on speaker.
Yeah.
And so I turned to her and I'm like, Abby, get off FaceTime. And so she says to her friend, do you want to just do ears?
No.
Yes.
No. Like a phone call?
Yeah.
Do you want to like talk just do ears?
Just do ears.
Oh my gosh. We are so old.
Like, that's what a phone was for like a really long time, Abby. Just ears.
Right.
That's called talking on the phone.
Right. That's where the expression talking on the phone comes from because you're not looking on the phone.
Right.
You're just talking.
Do you want to just do ears?
Well, have you seen it's like the kids who they're saying, show me a phone with your hand, like make a phone with your hand. And when you and I would do that, it's like this, right?
Yes.
Pinky and thumb out. And you put it to the kids are putting their hand flat like this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Their whole hand is flat. And I'm like, yep, I'm old. Mm-hmm. 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 Oh my gosh, you 3D printed one of those things, like the disc. Somebody told me that I 3D printed a disc, like when I pulled it out of my teacher desk drawer, like many years ago. The kids,
the save symbol.
Like I 3D printed the save symbol.
No.
And I was like, no, this is me cleaning out this cabinet of stuff. Some of it's mine, but there's a disc in here that isn't mine,
but could have been.
But could have been because I did use them. And yes, they were all different colors. And one color was for each subject.
Oh my gosh. When
Math
I was in
was red.
Oh, there you go. When I was in high school, I was the band historian, which basically means it's my job to make the end of the year slideshow, right? And
you just surpassed your own level of nerd, just so you know. Like you went from...
Oh no, nothing beats bringing a calculator to the prom. Not as my date, but I did have my TI 83 Plus in my purse. And when I was shopping for evening bags, I wanted one that was big enough to hold a calculator.
Why?
Because I'm a dork.
That's a... Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Precious. Okay.
Okay. So, anyways, my job to make the end of year slideshow. And this was at the very beginning stages of digital photography, right? So I still had paper-based pictures and I was scanning them or like taking a picture of them and then trimming the picture down or whatever. But the digital images, whether it be a scanned picture or an actual digital photograph, the files were so big that only one would fit on a floppy disk.
Oh my gosh.
So I had this box of floppy disks labeled with what was on each picture in the disk.
Oh man.
So when I was ready to start building the slideshow, it's like, okay, all the blue discs are the trumpet section. All the orange discs are trombone players. Like, yes.
Do you remember when we thought like thumb drives were like the height?
Oh my gosh. I bought an external hard drive in college.
Me too. I still have it in the house.
It was like the size of a VHS tape, which also ages
heavier.
me for using that as a comparison.
Yes.
But it was like the size of a VHS tape, and it held 100 gigs.
Oh, mine. Yeah. That was so much.
That was so much.
You are never going to fill that up.
I spent 3 digits on this external hard drive that holds 100 gigs. Mm-hmm. That's what my Google Drive holds.
Right.
And I don't have to carry anything with me. This external hard drive plugged into the wall as well as into your computer.
Plugged into the wall. Yep, it had 2. You had to have, into your power strip in the back. Your surge protector. Because the plugs didn't have that ability.
Yes.
Like,
Like
like my
grounded,
computer now has that. Yeah, has that in the, Well, speaking of spooky celebrity deaths, there goes our childhood. It's gone. It died in a spooky way.
There you go.
Yeah, or something. I don't know.
All right.
We hope you enjoyed this one. It was fun for us.
Maybe you listen to it with just your ears.
Given that this is a audio only medium, because we are not recording this one, yes, I would hope just ears.
Okay.
Just do ears.
Happy Halloween. As you are going through your children's Halloween candy, 1, to make sure that it's safe for them to eat. 2, to pick out all the Snickers bars for yourself.
Parent tax.
Make good choices.
Yeah. And, double box. So stupid.
Bye.
So funny. Okay, bye.
Hey friends, thanks for listening to the CK and GK podcast. Find us at CK and GK podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you pod. See you next time.